Thank you. We're going to stay in Westminster now. We're going to speak to Toby Perkins in the House of Commons earlier. Hello to you, Toby Perkins. Have you had any clarification on what this actually means?
No, I mean,
Just explain to me what your reaction was when you heard.
Well, I mean, I think it's incredible. I was asking him a question about Russia's role on the UN Security Council, and he came back with an answer that seemed to suggest that it's Russian state poisoning of Mr. Skripal, then England would be encouraged to pull out of the World Cup. I was saying should have got together and insisted that FIFA held the World Cup somewhere else. I'm very sad that that didn't happen, but to suggest that England might unilaterally pull out is insane. And you think about the consequences this would have on businesses, the World Cup, on the media, on football, of course, and most importantly on the tens of thousands of England fans that are intending to travel. So I urgently require, I think we all urgently require the Foreign Secretary to clarify what he was actually on about. I think it would be insane if he's just sort of speaking off the top of his head and raising that he hasn't properly thought through. But if what he's actually saying is our potential response to a British citizen being murdered is to say we're going to not eat before the game, then that's a really pathetic response. So, you know, I think there's a lot of frustration in Parliament that the Foreign Secretary appears to have such big rhetoric and so and the confusion that's being created over the World Cup is just.
Urco has said that Boris Johnson was using the conditional tense. It doesn't appear to be a statement of policy. To have been talking about dignitaries and officials rather than the England team. Gary Neville's had his say into it. But what should Boris Johnson be doing then? If you don't agree with this, what should he be doing?
Well, I mean, I think there's very serious sanctions options that are available to us. There's other countries that have taken much stronger sort of sanctions regimes than we have, and I think a lot of MPs were calling for measures along those sort of lines. We should have been looking for the entire international community to pressure FIFA to move it out of Russia, recognising them as a to sort of unilaterally come up with this 4 months before, I think is ridiculous. And what the Speaker was saying was that it was Boris Johnson made within his statement was that if what we believe has happened, then we should very seriously. And so, you know, that doesn't seem that conditional to me. He's saying if things are as we believe they are, then it should be considered. So I think what we need urgently what he actually means. If he misspoke, then he needs to say that, and more importantly, he needs to come up with a serious Russia actually recognise the consequences for, as one member of Parliament put it, being a country in which the state has.
I think the words of Boris Johnson were, I think it will be very hard to imagine that UK representation at that event, the World Cup, could go ahead in the normal way. What is the normal way? We'll wait to hear. Toby Perkins, thanks very much indeed.